Hello my friends and welcome back. Thank you very much for being with me again today. Man, this video is going to be real, and we're just gonna use facts, evidence, and healthy way of thinking. You know what I mean by that, right? Healthy way of thinking. All right, so this article comes from People magazine, and it's from August 1st, 2022. This is the title: Indigenous Australian Senator raises fist, calls Queen Elizabeth a colonizer as she is sworn into office. Okay, this is the title right here. And it says, an Australian senator took aim at Queen Elizabeth by calling her a colonizer as she recited an oath of allegiance to the monarch who is still head of state in Australia. Lydia Thrope, I think that's the, you will say her last name, Thrope, the first Aboriginal Australian senator from Victoria, all right, from Jab Urung Gunai and Guati Gunditjmara descent, had her swearing-in ceremony on Monday at Australia's Parliament House. She approached the floor with her right fist raised in the air and was asked to recite the traditional oath of office, which she did. And she did that, and then she said, I, Sovereign Lydia Baba, do solemnly, sincerely affirm, declare that it will be that I will be faithful, I bear true allegiance to the colonizing Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth II. All right, now my British Australian friends, let me ask you a question. That is your culture. This person insulted, you say, yeah, that's fact. She's a colonizer. Okay, all right. Well, if we go by facts, let's go and provide you some facts. It was a comment in one of my videos before, and it was a good comment. I was like, what do you think about it? And that person said, and thank you very much, one of my subscribers, I'm assuming, said, why don't you use when you want to show a picture or something on a telephone and it's not clear, why don't you use an iPad? And I was like, duh, below 86 IQ, what can I say? That was that kind of moment. So here it is, a little one, but it's gonna do the job. So let's get this woman. This is the Indigenous Aboriginal, right? What do ya think about that? Is she? All right, well, maybe she is. But I also Googled some Australian Aboriginal women. So I have some pictures with them. And see if you, here she is. Like Melania Trump, a little bit. All right. Melania Trump is not from there, okay? But then I did, okay, let's go next one. Let's get Aboriginal women from Australia, okay? Is there any resemblance? All right, I got another one. They made me do this. Please take a look at that, okay, or those. And then I'm gonna go back to her. All right. I will do some anthropology here, and I know that anthropology is not really a science that is very, how should I put it, objective anymore, but I'll try to be. I took anthropology in college here, and I had some big arguments with the professor. Surprise, surprise, right? Because those guys were hacks, were activists, were not professors of anthropology. So, if you look at this face and the other ones, you can say, hey, Emil, you're not honest. It's not, you know what I mean? She looks more European. Yes, European. Don't tell me what is European. Like me, for instance, probably like you, just look in the mirror. If you show me a sub-Saharan African and a guy from Norway, a Nordic, I can make a difference, you know, a guy with the blue eyes and all that versus a person who's different. You will tell the difference. And you know what? The US doesn't have a problem identifying who's who and what's what. You know, when they do their college admission, or they do the affirmative action, or they, you know, they do all kind of things, they have no problem recognizing who's white and who's not white. So here I recognize this person who claims to be, probably she has, I don't know, like Elizabeth Warren of the United States, Pocahontas. Maybe she has, I don't know, 0.0000 whatever percent phenotypical, right? Not close to them, but close to us. No problem with that. But I have another question here. We get in deep trouble right now. Do you, if she says that she's Aboriginal, right, Indigenous, and she's obviously more white than, and I don't say, oh, you know, sometimes, you know, here, you know, some people are like this, but they, when they come out of their mom's wombs, look like that. I'm not talking about extreme cases. I'm talking about, you know, it's like, oh, man, people are not bipeds, because we have some people who don't walk on 2 limbs, they walk on 4 limbs. Well, we don't make rules and laws based on that. That's a special case. That's not the general rule. All right, so she is obviously more white than she is Aboriginal. Her proportion, I don't know, she can take a genetic test, but she doesn't want to embarrass herself. Now we go to this embarrassing fact. Remember the 1-drop rule? You know, beginning of the 20th century in the United States, some southern states had that in law, like law, 1-drop rule. It was like this. If you had 1 drop of black blood, you were considered black. Now, if she considers herself Aboriginal, Indigenous, looking like that, that means she definitely supports the 1-drop rule that these guys had here at the beginning of the 20th century. Otherwise, she would not. Because if she said, I'm Aboriginal, I'm Indigenous with, I don't know, 3% Indigenous, and you consider yourself that, okay, good. What about the other percentages? No, I consider myself that. Then, how do you reason the 1-drop rule then? That was obviously discriminatory, right? And we all know that, correct? I had some conversations here in this country when I went to college with the anthropology professors, because they said what you identify with, that's what you are. I said, but that's not really true. It's genetics that show, you know, where you, and genetics are working. I'm not talking about epigenetics, which is another thing that works, but that's a different subject that is going to vary. They don't like it. So look at this. Let's say my grandparents, let's say, were Ukrainians, and let's say my the other grandparents were, I don't know, from South Africa. Okay, let's say they are over there, pygmies, right? Pygmies and Ukrainians. Now, when they my parents, one was pygmy, one was Ukrainian. I'm half and half, 50%. That's going to be genetically, right? Now, this guy said, no, which way you want to be. So you can be pygmy if you want, and you can be Ukrainian if you want. I said, no, that doesn't work like that. Science doesn't work like that. Well, I said, well, in the United States it does. I said, no, this is just done because it's a political status quo that you try to push here. I had all kind of arguments with these guys, but they were hacks, activists. So this woman came over there, spoke about Queen Elizabeth. She took the oath. Well, if you're so strong, why don't you do something else? Why don't you play by the colonizers' rules? Why do you play by that? And I'm assuming she drives a car that was invented by the colonizers. I'm thinking she used a phone that was invented by the colonizers. And she does many things with her hair, with her eyes, with many, many things. So I don't know, you know, I mean, if you are so, you know what I mean? In this case, then you would go all the way. You go over there and you insult a symbol of a culture. That's what she did. Well, true or not true, I got some more pictures, but I had it on the phone, I didn't put it on the iPad. And there were pictures how the colonizers found the Aborigines. So when the colonizers crossed half of the globe, courageous, intelligent, strong, and advanced, came to Australia, they found the Aborigines. They were in the Stone Age. That's where they were. Is that something bad? No. But that tells you something, correct? Because in the cycle of civilization, you go up or you go down. At that point, the colonizers, the bad dudes with their queen, found these people over there as they used to be tens of thousands of years back. So they left that 15,000 years back, let's say, at least, and these guys were over there. So I don't know, I'm just saying. And then obviously they conquered them and so on. I'm pretty sure the Aborigines were all peaceful with one another. All the tribes were just friends and they shared everything, including wives, and they didn't have slaves and anything like that. That's fine. Perfect society. But these colonizers were the bad people, right? I heard this story somewhere else, I think in Africa too. The same thing. I'm just saying, look at that woman, look at genetics, and look at the one drop rule. And you can make peace between all these things. You can't. So if she's an indigenous person, then, and there's nothing wrong with that. But you can't say, I'm that. No, you're both. You're I don't know how many genes she's got in there, what kind of, who's who and what's what. But she identifies as that. Like President Obama here. Again, I had arguments in college with professors. They told me that former President Obama was black. The first black president, or black, that's how they say it. Black president. I said, well, no, it's incorrect. That's biracial. Yeah, but he identifies as black. I said, what do you mean? He's biracial. I mean, I can identify if I want as a Chinese, but I will not be Chinese. Well, he chose to embrace his father's culture, the black culture. I said, yeah, but he was raised by white parents. Where was his father? Too many questions here. Let's move on. All right? So no, he is a biracial individual. Nothing wrong with that. But you choose to identify. And okay, you choose to identify. Okay, why not with the other side? Is the other side bad? How did you make your choice? Based on what? And those guys took care of you. That culture, those guys, the two grandparents, not his mom. His mom was others, okay? The grandparents, the two old people raised Mr. Obama. By their culture, by their, married together and so on, and they had a daughter, but the daughter, okay? Look at that. So he chooses to. The same, she chooses to. So then what about the one drop rule? The same way? Very tricky, man, very tricky. Thank you very much for being with me again today. In the process, she insults, as I said, insults a culture, insults a nation, and more than a nation. And why the other nation should take it? Why? Do you feel any guilt? I don't. Zero. I'm not part of that, tribe. I'm not part of, the Anglo-Saxon descent. No. But I'm still having more connections with them than with others, if you know what I mean. When I came here, guilty. Not guilty of anything. And I will not be guilty of anything. Unless I do something. Bye-bye. All right. Thank you very much for being with me again today. Stay strong, stay smart, look for the truth, and be just.